Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm from the Ecological Land Cooperative. The cooperative was set up because we knew so many people who wanted to get on the land. We either found it was too expensive or found that planning permission was just too difficult to get, too stressful. So we thought, well, why don't we create a cooperative that buys land through ethical investors and then applies for planning permission. Then once the planning permission's in place, we can offer it to people who want to manage it ecologically. So that's what we've done. We raised money to buy 22 acres in Devon, and we applied for 3 agricultural workers' dwellings, and we're currently looking for 3, well, we've been looking, we're just shortlisting now 3 people to move on to those plots. The work that we've done is looking at the way in which we can raise money through a cooperative structure to buy land and get planning permission, like I said. We've also done work on viability, because a key part of us getting planning permission on the land is to show that these people can be viable. And then finally, we've spent quite a lot of time looking at the mechanisms that we can put in place in order to protect that land once we've bought it, because we don't want to work hard and for free to get planning permission for newly closed smallholders, for example, to then have it sold out from under us to somebody who just wants to use it for commuting. So we spent time looking at what kind of covenants we could place on the land. So the reason why I'm telling you all this is because those 3 areas we can talk about today, or I can talk about, we can talk about as a group, and I'm just sort of throwing it out there to the group to find out if you would first like me to talk about our experience in planning permission, or if you'd like me to talk about the experience we've had in looking into viability of smallholding, or the third thing into the mechanism for protection. So maybe I'll do a little vote. So the first one is, now I've forgot the order of things. Which one was it?
Planning permission.
Who would like to talk about the experience we've had trying to get planning permission?
No, too depressing.
Not so many. The second one was the viability. A bit more. And the third thing was the protection mechanism. I think I'll go with viability first then. This is my style.
It would be great if you could talk a bit about raising the money as well, like how you went about that.
And also, this lady here was just asking if I talk about how we went about raising the money. So, at the moment, really the only option I feel that we have for getting planning permission for what we call ecological land-based livelihoods, so that's forestry or permaculture farming or biodynamic farming or smallholding, is the agricultural workers dwelling, the forestry workers dwelling permission. And that might change, but I can't see any hope for that changing in the short term. We're lobbying for a low impact development policy like they have in Wales, which is called TAN-SIT, which allows people to live in the open countryside if they can show that they live a low impact lifestyle. But for the minute we have to work with the PPS 7 Annex A agricultural workers dwelling, and one of the criteria when you put an application in for planning permission is that you can show that you can be economically viable. Unfortunately for us, the High Court has deemed subsistence to be economically viable. You don't have to show that you can make the minimum wage, but you have to show that you can meet your household needs, and there is no clear guidance on what exactly that is. So the best bet for that is to work quite closely with your planning officer to find out what they want to see from you in terms of meeting household needs for subsistence. And you might need to show them the decision from the High Court which says that all you have to have is, all you have to need is subsistence. Even though it does say that in the policy, sometimes they still are looking for something more than that. And I mean, we found that the planning officers are not used to applications for small holdings. They think it's not going to be viable, and you really do have to win them over, and that is partly why we did this publication. I've got a few extra copies. So this publication, we went round 8 small holdings under 10 acres and looked at the finances. I mean, obviously there's a lot of small holdings out there and they're not all going to be viable, and we found 8 that were, and they varied. About half of them were mixed veg and fruit, so your standard veg crops and salads and some apples and soft fruits. There was a mushroom picker, a mushroom grower, a seed company that does seeds for the home gardener, and a mixed holding and a chicken hatchery. And they did vary a great deal, but all of the incomes were definitely modest. Nobody was making more than about £10,000 per year. obviously they were getting some money from their food that was accounted in that. And a bit distracting there. I'm just trying to think what else to tell you about them. I mean, the findings that were that none of them borrowed a great deal of money. All of them built up slowly and gradually over time, and that helped keep the capital costs down, helped them to not borrow a great deal. A lot of them diversified, and a lot of them worked directly with markets, their own markets, or added value by processing on site. There was a great deal of different crops in each of their systems. So, for example, Charles Downing is one of our case studies. On 2 acres, he grows salad, which he mainly provides to restaurants. He does a range of mixed leaves, and he does 4 drops a week directly to the restaurants. And that way, he's able to make about £10,000 a year on 2 acres. But he is close to pretty well-off markets that will pay a good price for those salad bags. We found that people didn't need particularly good bits of land. They could be on marginal lands. They would build up fertility over time. It wasn't important that they had necessarily a south-facing aspect. And they really improved productivity on all the sites that we found. I'm just wondering if there are any particular questions. I'm worried that I'm heading down a dead end a little bit here. Go on,
Is that on your website, that publication?
yeah, this is free to download. I brought some copies along today.
What is the website?
It's www.ecologicalland.coop.
Sorry.
I'll also go over these other subjects that I brought up at the beginning, but particularly on the viability. Is there any other questions? Or should I talk more about the viability of the planning application?
Is that not possible to completely change the viability by somebody doing some part-time work?
No.
They don't accept that.
The question was, can you change the viability by doing some part-time work? They don't
Make
accept
something
that.
that would otherwise be not viable, viable by one person, by one person having a job or a part-time job.
No, when you apply for the agricultural workers dwelling, you have to show that you'll meet your household needs from the land.
You mentioned that you